everybody, it's Jahmade back again with Opus Gaming, and I'm here today to bring you guys a white aggro list for the Battle Spirit Saga card game. This is going to be my friend Luis's white aggro list that he took first place at our locals with, and it's something that I haven't been playing too much and something I haven't brought to the channel as much, and I just want more insight, because white aggro, red aggro have been kind of the star of the show for the Battle Spirit Saga, like, meta in general, so just talking about where we think the deck lines up, where we think the deck's going to land, and all of that good stuff. But before we get too deep in talking about kind of the theory behind the deck and where it is in the meta, I'm just going to introduce Luis and we're going to get right into the deck profile. So feel free to take off, Luis.
Yes. Thank you so much. My name is Luis Sarmiento. I went undefeated twice with white aggro. Quick shout outs to Viral Card Gaming for letting us use their streaming room to do this deck profile. Quick shout out to my team, Eminence Gaming. And quick shout out to Opus Gaming for doing the deck for me. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man, of course, of course.
But we'll just get right to it.
Cool.
So we'll first start out with the low end stuff. So here is the 1-drops.
And the low end part of the deck is really, I feel like, what gives the deck what it does, right? You're playing full 4-ofs of all the like smaller cards that can come out for like so cheap and so free, and I think that that's what really overwhelms your opponent, because you're never paying too much for any of your cards, right?
Pretty straightforward. You wanna see at least one, preferably 2 1-cost in your opening hand, and then one of the 2 costs, because essentially, even if you go first or second, you just do the 1 for the 2 cores, and then another 2 cores for the 2 cost, because of the 1 reduction. So no matter if you're going first or second, you can pretty much set up 2 for sure. If you get the second 1-drop, you can get 3 right away. So there's some god hands that I'm sure you've heard of where you can get like 4 or 5 out by turn 2 to like kill your opponent on turn 2. Does not happen as often as you would like, but really consistently is the 1 cost and the 2 cost to get you going. This deck is very straightforward. It doesn't take much to pilot. You want to just have a bunch of low-end stuff on the ground and just swing face to get your opponent to 0 cores as quick as possible. But for the most part, these are the cards that you want to see in your opening hand to just rush down your opponent as quick as possible. I mean, you can do some crazy shit like swing, get a core, and then there's a magic card that you'll see later called Regain, which will allow you to untap. So like if you attack with something else, you regain, untap, and the plus 3,000 BP remains for the whole turn. So then when you attack for a second time, now you're attacking instead of 4,000, you're attacking for 7,000. So it definitely,
you get another core back when you attack.
Yeah, and you get another core back too. Yeah, so you net back 2 and you get 2 attacks. So really good synergy between Regain and Snow.
Perfect.
So,
I love that combo. That's super cool.
So yeah, that's pretty much does it for the low end stuff. This is ridiculous though. If you get 2 1-drops out, this is free. I mean, just so it's part of like the opening hand that's like super nuts, where you could just play 1-drop, 2-drop, and then you guys know how it goes from there.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to cut in really quick to let everybody know we're doing a giveaway once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you're not subbed to the channel already, drop a sub down below. It'll help us out a lot. But essentially what we're going to be doing is giving away different things for each card game that we're playing a lot of right now. So like One Piece, we have a couple starter decks and we also announced that we're going to be doing a super pre-release blue starter deck as well. For Digimon, we have event packs, Battle Spirit Saga event packs as well as something special for Battle Spirit Saga specifically that we're announcing at 750 subscribers. So just drop a sub down below. Help me grow the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And let's get to that 1,000 subscribers so we can do the giveaway quicker. But let's get back into the deck profile right now.
Next, I will do the mid-level stuff here. So we got playset of Raccoon Guard, playset of Pegasione, or Pegasione, however you guys want to call it in your region. 3 Curiosity, though I've been thinking about bumping it up to 4, and I'll explain why here in a second.
Cool.
4 of the Vanilla Mecha. 4 of probably arguably the best card in the deck is Valkyrie Mist, Raccoon Guard, and really Mobile Golem are just like really solid vanillas that when you do play your like early stuff and it doesn't get destroyed and it survives a turn, you follow up with some of the stuff. I mean, the reduction for 3 is so nice. If you have 3 or more stuff out, you can just play it for 1, and you just got a 4K body. And then Raccoon Guard, I feel like is like a really good, like, it's how you get from from your 1 and 2 drops to your 4 drops so easily, because if you have like a gunner and a snow, play this on the next turn. Now you have 3, and you should have a core 2 available to just play the golem. And now you have 4 stuff on like turn 2, maybe 3, depending on how your opening hand was, and that's pretty aggressive. So these two kind of effectively do the same thing, as it just provides another body for an efficient cost because of the reduction. Pegasione is fantastic against red and purple. Being able to, especially red Terrasaur, being able to put the 2 or more cores on it and then block while exhausted is really great, because sometimes Terrasaur chooses to go aggro, and they usually don't swing into it if they know that you have that on there. Curiosity is fantastic against purple. It gets around the, what is it called? Curse? Blood curse?
Yeah, curse and blood curse. Just curse.
Yeah, just curse. Yeah. So it gets around curse, which is fucking annoying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Camelot Knight is a really good card. And it protects your mechs like this guy, and the gunner and other stuff. So only for the mechas, but it's still a really good card. I was thinking about putting it up to 4, because some purple decks in our local meta are just like really hard to deal with, especially for our deck, because they play Curse Dragon. So
definitely.
And I think the last thing I'm talking about is Valkyrimus. So Valkyrimus is just how you win games. You'll have like 3 or 4 bodies on board. They have like 1 or 2 guys. You just plop it down, return whatever's the biggest, and you can just swing face. Sometimes I find myself in situations where they got like 1 big guy, but I have like 4 dudes. Should I risk losing a body just so I can deal 2 or 3 points? And I have found that absolutely, you want to do that. This is an aggro deck. You don't run ice shields. You want to get your opponent to a point where you don't need ice shields. And so a lot of times I will just sacrifice a body just to deal 2 or 3 points of damage, and try to get my opponent dead as quick as I can, because I don't want them to try to get back, try to come back and recover.
The clapback can be serious in this game for sure.
Although, you got to be wary about the fact that if you do rush them down super aggressively, you're giving them a lot of resource in the form of cores turn 2 and 3. So you do have to be aware of that, especially against purple. So many times where I've gotten a really good hand, swung for like 3 on turn 2 or 4, and then they just followed up with the Curse Dragon, and there's just nothing I can do about that. New addition to the deck is Axebiter.
Yeah, talk about Axebiter by itself. How do you feel about that card?
So, I was originally not playing Axebiter, and I got absolutely clapped in the finals by Purple Control. Shout out to Matt Riley, fantastic player. And I was like, man, I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want that to happen again. So luckily I pulled one, and then a buddy of mine pulled one, and shout out to Damon. And he threw it my way. So I run 2 as a kind of like a flex spot, because you're not going to need it in every matchup. So it's a good thing to like take out for sideboard stuff. But against purple and even yellow, very solid. I would say it puts in more work against yellow or against purple than it does yellow. But the times that I have seen it and played it, I've won. And last, I run the 1 of Derm Dyna as like a little bit of a top end. You don't want to get, you don't want to be lagging against control, especially during game 1, where you're obviously your game plan game 1 is to just be aggro, but sometimes you just you can't get there, and all of a sudden they start out resourcing you, out valuing you, and you just need to get that 1 point in.
Yeah,
win.
definitely. Once white control and decks like that go into their super late game, they're sitting on Enterprise and Armored Dragons and stuff. It gets to be a bit ridiculous. So
yes. So the one down in the main, and last is the magic cards. So I play, which you guys heard me say earlier, was 4 regain, and 4 dream drop. No, I'm not playing absolute ice shield. If you feel like you need absolute ice shield, you're not playing the deck right.
Cool.
you want to just be super aggressive.
Yeah.
And so regain is great because a lot of times you're swinging for 3 or 4 bodies, and you need that extra damage in. Regain just gets you that extra damage by untapping one of the spirits that is already attacked, and just get in there for another point. Really, really good. And the fact that it has 3 reduction cost, you can play it for 1, just feels really good. I mean, because you're already going to have a lot of bodies. You just, swing 1, swing 1, swing 1, and just regain, swing again. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, like, your opponent's just like, holy crap, I'm at 1. So regain's really good. And then similar to Valkyrie Mist, this just wins you the game. You just bounce whatever is a threat, and you swing. You just go in there. I almost never, ever put this in the burst zone because I feel like it's just better in your hand. I feel like you just want to just use it on demand, Though there are times where, like, if you're going up against control or, like, yellow, where they have just, like, 4 Nexuses out or something, it's not bad to put it in the burst zone. But for the most part, I just keep it in my hand. Yeah,
it's definitely a break the board type of card.
Yeah, I totally agree. So these cards just kind of help you get there. Not really like defensive. Well, I guess it can be defensive with the Dream Bomb. They're coming in for lethal. You can try to bounce it back and survive for 1 more turn. So
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that is the main deck.
We can jump straight into the side deck.
Of course. First thing first. Force suppression.
Cool. So no ice shield on the main, but we have suppression in the side.
Yes. Suppression is just a really good card. For people who can't afford ice shield, I would recommend just using suppression. It effectively does the same thing, stopping the turn, because your opponent's not going to want to swing into an exhausted, big fat spirit with all of their low spirits. So the reason why I run it is because sometimes I just need that extra removal, or not removal, but I use it defensively as removal.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what it is. It's removal.
Yeah, that's essentially how I use it. I never use it when I attack. I always hold it up when I'm blocking. My opponent swings for X amount of damage. I just suppression block, and then they usually stops their turn.
Absolutely.
And so that's what it's for. I bring it in against yellow. I bring it against red Terrasaur. I bring it in against Star Dragons too. Pretty much any kind of deck that plays a lot of spirits that are kind of like mid to low to the ground kind of. So really good in that sense. Arguably you can put it against control, but I think there's other cards that you could use for control, which I'm about to show. These 2 are supposed to be 2 more Derm Dyna. I just don't have them.
I feel like Moonsky is a pretty good card though in and of itself. Even
I
if
totally
you are
agree.
Slamming it in white aggro, it comes down and it definitely does something.
I totally agree. Like I said, these are supposed to be Derm Dyna, and they're supposed to come in during control matchups. But there was one game where I just was able to steal the game with an Elk. It was just MVP. I mean, like you said, it is in itself a great card. Last but not least, for our purple matchup, because we just have a really rough time against purple.
Yeah, we've talked about purple a lot today.
Purple is, I would say, probably our worst matchup, just in my personal experience, because since you run so many things that will really just only have 1 core on them, because you want to just swing with as many bodies as possible, they can just stop you right in your tracks with the Curse Dragon, with whatever that card is where it swings and you remove a core. I forget what the name of that purple card is, but
there's a couple that swing and remove a core, but I know it's the 4 drop.
Yes, and they
Spider
very easily just pick your board apart.
Yeah.
And not much I can do about it unless I run Fulla and I run Derm Dyna, because usually the purple run here they play more control. I've yet to play against a Curse Aggro player in our locals, but that's not to say they're not out there in yours. But for sure, you want Fulla against purple, even if they're not playing core control and they're doing more just like control purple. They will have stuff that removes cores, and you will want to see this. So yeah. Purple's just too good.
No, purple's strong.
Purple's the reason why
people keep on saying that purple's not the best deck in the format. Purple's the best deck in the format right now.
I totally agree.
But this isn't a purple matchup. This isn't a purple deck profile.
Yeah.
Talking about the white control deck, what do you think about the deck's like longevity? How do you feel about it? Because when the deck first kind of premiered from the Vegas event, lots of people said that it didn't have legs. Me included. Lots of people said that it can't really go too far because your opponent can wall you out with bigger spirits.
Yes.
Which is definitely a way to play against the deck. But like we were talking about before with the Valkyrie Mist, with Dream Bomb, those things are definitely big problems. So now that we're like established into the meta, how are you feeling as a white aggro pilot?
I think that the more and more I play white aggro, the more predictable my game plan is, and like My opponents know what I'm gonna do. They know what my play is on turn 2, turn 3. They can expect it. Game 1 is better. I feel like game 1 is more in favor to us white aggro players, but games 2 and 3 is more of a uphill battle. I feel because they'll know to bring in burning burning forest. They'll know to bring in burning forest. They'll know to use suppression against you to stop you from being so aggressive in the early game. So I would say that if you are a new player to the game and you're looking to build a deck that is pretty competitive and consistent but does not break the bank, white aggro is the way. You don't need absolute ice shields. I would say 80 to 90% of the deck is just commons from your bulk bins. So very easy to pilot. I would recommend this deck to anybody who is thinking about picking up the game but not sure how they're going to play not sure if they're going to be good at playing the game. I think that where white aggro is in the meta right now, I think it's still tier 1. I think it will definitely top almost any event currently, but I just think that it falls a little bit short to purple control. It really just is a very hard matchup for us. We struggle a lot, and that's just what we got to look out for. And so against every other deck, though, like yellow, solid, red, no problems. The mirror match against another white aggro deck, it really all depends on who's aggressive first. There's a lot of times where in mirror matches where it gets to a point where I have 5 1-drops or 2-drops, and they got 4 or 5 1-drops and 2-drops, and nobody wants to swing because as soon as one person swings and somebody plays a suppression and clears your board or something, and then immediately you're just gonna lose. They're gonna swarm you and stuff like that. So it feels a little rough in the mirror match, but for the most part, every matchup is pretty easy except for purple. So I think that's kind of where it's at in the meta. I would definitely take this to a regional. Even if people just know what your deck does and know what you're gonna be doing, you can get a good hand and you can swing for 4 on turn 2. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice shield and all that.
Yeah. If the purple opponent doesn't have a cursed dragon, it's tied on them.
For sure.
You're gonna win the next turn. So very good deck. I would continue playing this for sure. When set 2-drops, spoilers aren't really out yet, but
no, not yet.
But I would have to see how things are with once green is out. If you could continue playing white aggro, between white aggro and white control, I think white aggro is the better of the 2 decks. That's not to say white control is not a good deck. White control is very awesome, very fun to play. I just think right now Battle Spirit Saga is aggro dominated. Terrasaur is pretty aggressive. White aggro, obviously aggressive. Fabled Beast can be very aggressive. And I think that purple aggro obviously is aggressive. So I think that our meta is pretty aggressive at the moment, and so white control kind of struggles against aggro, I feel, in a little bit in some ways. So that's kind of where I think that is between those two. I think white aggro is better than white control.
Yeah,
that
makes sense.
That's just my thought, though.
Yeah, no, but that's going to wrap up the deck profile. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. You guys already know I'll get back to you, but this is me, Jahmade, with Opus Gaming with Luis, and we're going to be out. Take care, guys.
Take care.